Alright, this is the joint decision. UFC 314 full card predictions and breakdown. We're rolling through every fight on this card, early prelims, main card. If there's a verbal scrap between Cormier and Rogan, I'm on it. We'll break down the matchups, look at the odds, and see what the fighters have been up to heading into this weekend. Then I'll give you my picks, some quick reasoning, and maybe even a baked take or two. It's all about figuring out who's going to spark up the octagon and who's burning my parlays. So grab a drink, roll one up, and let's get into it. Firing up the first fight of the night, we've got Nora Cornell versus Hayley Cowan. Cornell's 8-2. She lost a split decision to Cavalcanti after she sparked out Mullins in 2024. The year before that, she picked up a unanimous decision over Edwards. Cowan's 7-3. She lost a unanimous decision to Horth in 2023. Before that, she scraped a split decision over Leite on Dana White's Contender Series, and she submitted Franco in Invicta in 2022. Cornell is 35 and stands 5'7". Cowan is 33 and 5'8". Right now, 90% of Topology is backing Cornell, with 92% of them predicting a decision. She's the -190 favorite, while Cowan comes in as a +160 underdog. Now, socials. Cornell looks locked in, sparking whatever that is and putting in work at the gym. Meanwhile, Cowan's on that Pereira training arc, crawling through icy elements and getting her rounds in. Cornell's got 6 knockouts from 8 wins. Cowan's never been knocked out, but she's only faced true UFC-level competition once and lost after weighing above the contract limit. The majority of Topology say Cornell by decision, but I'm leaning with the 7% who say knockout. Being that outnumbered, I think it's safe to double up. Cornell by knockout or decision. Next up on the card, we've got Tressine Gore versus Marco Tulio. Gore's 5-2. He choked out Trocoli in 2024 and Fremd in 2022, but was sparked out by Brundage before that. Tulio's 13-1. He sparked out Patiera in 2025, Duclos on Dana White's Contender Series, and Santos on LFA in 2024. Gore is 30 and stands 6 foot. Tulio is also 30 and also 6 foot. Right now, 88% of Topology are backing Tulio, with 89% predicting a knockout. At -355, he's the favorite, while Gore comes in as a +280 underdog. On socials, Gore recently revealed he's having another boy, so doubled up on father time, but he's still locked in at the gym. Meanwhile, Tulio got his face painted but is more focused on working hard and training. Both are coming off decent finishes. Gore's only losses are to Brundage and Battle, which are fair, but Tulio's only loss was 7 years ago. Both suffered knockout losses. Speaking of knockouts, Tulio has 9 of his 13 wins by knockout, while Gore's more into submissions with 3. I see why so much of Topology sees Tulio getting his 10th knockout. Gore's probably going to grapple against the cage, shoot for takedowns and get caught bad, leading to Tulio by knockout. The third fight of the night, we've got Sumudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. Sumudaerji's 16-7. He lost a unanimous decision to Johnson in 2024, was submitted by Elliott in 2023, and choked out by Schnell in 2022. Raposo's 9-2. He lost a split decision to Lima in his UFC debut in 2024. Before that, he won the Cage Titans belt by sparking out Valentin before that Smythe in 2023. Sumudaerji is 29 and stands 5'8". Raposo is 26 and 5'5". Right now, 59% of Topology are backing Sumudaerji, with 88% predicting a decision. He's the -225 favorite, while Raposo comes in as the +185 underdog. On socials, Sumudaerji was spotted with this guy. I'm sure I recognize him from somewhere, and he's locked in at training. Meanwhile, Raposo is getting pics with legends like Poirier, but is also putting in work at the gym, spotted training with Patchy Mix. Sumudaerji hasn't won a fight since early 2021, but has a stacked record of 13 knockouts. Raposo hasn't won in the UFC yet, losing his debut to Lima, but prior to that, he was on a 4 finishes streak. Whether he's able to adjust to UFC-level competition, or if Sumudaerji can break his 3-fight skid, is a flip of a coin to me and most of Topology. I'm going with the underdog. Hopefully he can pull off his first UFC win. Whether he's able to get his 8th finish, or it goes to his 3rd decision, I'm leaning decision. But I'm playing it safe. Raposo moneyline. Finishing the prelims, we've got Cedric Dumas versus Mikhail Alexiejczuk. Dumas is 10-2. He won a unanimous decision over Tiuliulin, but was sparked out by Ruziboev in 2024. He also picked up a unanimous decision over Azaitaryn in 2023. Alexiejczuk is 19-9. He lost a unanimous decision to Magomedov and was submitted by Holland and Pereira in 2024. Dumas is 29 and stands 6'2". Alexiejczuk is 30 and 6 foot. Right now, 72% of Topology are backing Alexiejczuk, with 78% predicting a knockout. He's the -205 favourite, while Dumas comes in as a +165 underdog. On socials, Dumas is absent. Pretty sure he deleted them after his last loss, so here's his mugshot and him in the gym. Meanwhile, Alexiejczuk is having beach days with the boys and getting in training with the fighting nerds, such as Borrallo. Despite the win-loss records, Alexiejczuk is definitely the better fighter. Like mentioned, being an honorary fighting nerd, he's only sharpening those skills with 14 total knockouts. Though he's been submitted 6 times, this probably isn't a worry, as Dumas has more decisions than submissions, and that's probably his next best option. Either way, I don't see Dumas winning this one. I feel like he's going to be outmatched, and I doubt he even survives 2 rounds. So I'm going with Alexiejczuk by knockout under 2.5 rounds. Starting off the prelims, we've got Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Elkins is 29-11. He won a unanimous decision over Pineda in 2024, choked out Brown in 2023, but lost a unanimous decision to Pierce in 2022. Erosa is 30-11. He choked out Rodriguez and Ramos in 2024, but was sparked out by Padilla in 2023. Elkins is 40 and stands 5'10". Erosa is 35 and 6'1". Right now, 82% of Topology are backing Erosa, with 55% predicting a decision. He's the -380 favourite, while Elkins comes in as a +300 underdog. On socials, Elkins isn't posting much to go off, but he's definitely in the gym, spotted working pads. Meanwhile, Erosa is getting a good start to the day, then training with fellow card fighter Ige. Elkins has gone the distance in 20 of his 29 wins, losing 6 of them. Erosa has gone to decision 9 times, winning 5, with 25 of his 30 wins coming by finish. I'm leaning submission, but it could go anywhere. I think Erosa gets the finish, either submission or knockout, but it wouldn't surprise me if Elkins survives to the judges and loses a unanimous decision. So playing it safe, I'm calling Erosa moneyline. Okay, next up on the prelims, we've got Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Hooper's 15-3. He submitted Guida and choked out Borshchev in 2024, and also choked out Levitt in 2023. Miller's 38-18. He choked out Jackson, lost a unanimous decision to Green, and choked out Benitez in 2024. Hooper is 25 and stands 6'1". Miller is 41 and 5'8". Right now, 88% of Topology are backing Hooper, with 73% predicting a submission. He's one of the card's biggest favourites at -700, with Miller coming in as a +500 underdog. On socials, Hooper is a certified. Moving on, he's working hard in the gym, aiming for at least 10,000. Miller doesn't post much either, took a pig for a drive, but he's locked in at training. Wouldn't be the first time Miller pulled off the upset. He was the underdog last time out submitting Jackson, although this one's a bigger spread. He's got 21 submissions, but I really don't see him subbing Hooper. His best shot is a KO or decision, but I can't see a much older Miller beating Hooper, who has half his wins by submission too. I agree with Topology here. Unless Miller can prove he's still a dog and surprise finish Hooper, I see him being tapped out before he gets the chance. So Hooper by submission. Next up, we've got Verna Jandiroba versus Xiaonan Yan. Jandiroba's 21-3. She submitted Lemos and won a unanimous decision over Godinez in 2024 and took another unanimous over Rodriguez in 2023. Yan's 19-4. She beat Richie by unanimous decision but lost to Zhang in 2024. Before that, she sparked out Andrade in 2023. Jandiroba is 36 and stands 5'3". Yan is 35 and 5'5". Right now, 53% of Topology are backing Jandiroba, with 82% predicting a decision. She's the -155 favourite, while Jan is the +130 underdog. On socials, Jandiroba looks locked in, pulling up in Miami and getting some late sparring in. Same with Jan, who's been training out at Team Alpha Male. Jan's got 8 knockouts, just 1 sub, and 10 decisions, losing all 3 of her defeats on the cards. Jandiroba only has 1 KO, but she's got 6 decisions and 14 submissions, only ever losing via the judges. I don't see Jan landing a knockout here, so her best bet is to win a decision, but even that feels unlikely. I'm with Topology on this one. Not sure if Werner gets the sub or grinds it out, so I'm doubling up. Jandiroba by submission or decision. Closing out the prelims, we've got Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Ige's 18-9. He lost unanimous decisions to Murphy and Lopez, but sparked out Filey, all in 2024. Woodson's 13-1. He sparked out Padilla, then picked up a unanimous over Caceres and a split over Jourdain, also all in 2024. Ige is 33 and stands 5'7". Woodson is 32 and 6'2". Topology's split. 51% are backing Ige, with 52% saying by decision. But the odds makers have Ige as the underdog at +135, with Woodson as the -165 favourite. On socials, Ige looks locked in. He was spotted at the Breaking Bad pilot location, like we mentioned earlier, putting in rounds with fellow card fighter Arosa. Meanwhile, Woodson's been thirsting over desserts, but also locked in for training. Ige's wins are well spread, he's got the tools, but when he loses, it's always on the cards. He's lost 9 of 16 fights by decision. Woodson's got 4 knockouts, 1 sub, but mostly decisions, 8 in total. His only loss was a submission, but I don't think this one hits the mat. I see these two trading on the feet. I don't think Woodson becomes the first to knock Ige out, but I do think he edges out 3 close rounds and takes a tight one on the scorecards. Not super confident, but my pick is Woodson by decision. Kicking off the main card, we've got Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Krylov's 30-9. He choked out Spann in 2023 and before that picked up a unanimous over Esdemir and sparked out Gustafsson in 2022. Reyes is 14-4. He sparked out both Smith and Jacoby in 2024, but before that got sparked by Spann back in 2022. Krylov is 32 and stands 6'3". Reyes is 35 and 6'4". Topology's almost even, 51% are backing Reyes, 63% saying knockout, but the odds don't agree. Reyes is the +165 underdog, with Krylov the -195 favourite. On socials, Krylov looks dialed in. He was on top of a mountain not long ago, now locked in at camp. Reyes, he's recently married, crowned himself on the throne, but he's still putting in rounds, just not posting much. Winter is coming. Krylov's record is pure chaos. Only 4 of his 39 fights have gone to decision. 16 subs, 12 knockouts. But I doubt he's hunting a choke here. Reyes, 9 knockouts, 2 subs, 4 decisions. One of those a so-called loss to John Jones that most fans still dispute. He's been knocked out 3 times himself, but the hands are real. I'm siding with Topology and backing the dog. I think Reyes gets it done, and most likely inside the distance. There's always a chance it drags out, but I'm betting it doesn't. Reyes by knockout. On to the next fight. We've got Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Rodriguez is 19-5. He was submitted by Ortega in 2024, sparked out by Volkanovski, but choked out Emmett in 2023. Pitbull is 36-7. He sparked out Kennedy in 2024 in Bellator defending his title, but before that was sparked out by Suzuki in Rizin and lost a unanimous decision to Pettis in Bellator in 2023. Rodriguez is 32 and stands 5'11". Pitbull is 37 and 5'6". 70% of Topology are backing Rodriguez, with 64% saying by decision. He's the -200 favourite, while Pitbull is the +165 underdog. On socials, Yair is pulling up to Miami in one of my all-time favourite cars looking ready. He's getting work in at the gym with unforgettable champ Belal, and the same goes for Pitbull, putting in work at the gym ready for his fight. Rodriguez has 5 submissions, 6 decisions and 8 knockouts. He's lost by decision and submission with 3 knockouts. Pitbull has 12 of each, but his 7 losses come from submissions, 2 knockouts and 4 bad decisions. Despite Pitbull being a real dog, I think Rodriguez takes this. The youth and height advantage should help, and I think he drags Pitbull through his first UFC loss. Not 100% on method, but my best guess is Rodriguez by decision. Okay, for our featured fight of the night, the people's main event, we've got Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. Mitchell is 17-2. He sparked out Gracie in 2024, but was sparked out bad by Emmett and sparked out Ige in 2023. Silva is 15-2. He sparked out Bagdasari in February 2025 and Dober and Jordan in 2024. Mitchell is 30 and stands 5'10". Silva is 28 and 5'7". 81% of Topology are backing Silva, with 94% saying by knockout. He's the -335 favourite, while Mitchell is the +260 underdog. On socials, Mitchell is farming, mining, and probably crafting a master plan to cook Silva. Seriously though, who do you know that takes a mason jar of protein shake to the gym? Anyway, Silva is riding in style with the boys and flying high in the gym with fellow fighting nerds. Mitchell only has 2 losses, a fair submission by Topuria and a scary knockout by Emmett. He's got a knockout too, but mostly wins by decision or submission, with 9 of them himself. Silva also only has 2 losses but his decisions, with only 1 decision win himself. He's more of a finisher, with 2 submissions and a Big 12 knockout record. I get the feeling if Silva wins, it's inside the distance. I think the odds for this one are understating Mitchell's grappling skills and Silva's lack of them. Yeah, Silva's dangerous, but Mitchell can definitely handle himself and is dangerous too. I don't see him knocking Silva out, but whether he manages a submission or takes him the distance, I'm doubling up on. Mitchell by submission or decision. In our co-main event, we've got Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. Chandler is 23-9. He lost a unanimous decision to Oliveira in 2024, was choked out by Poirier, but sparked out Ferguson in 2022. Pimblett is 22-3. He choked out Green in 2024 and won unanimous decisions over Ferguson in 2023 and Gordon in 2022. Chandler is 38 and stands 5'8". Pimblett is 30 and 5'10". 54% of Topology are backing Pimblett, with 70% saying he gets it done by submission. He's the -160 favourite, while Chandler is the +135 underdog. On socials, Chandler is locked in. Man is the definition of locked in. Despite his unfortunate UFC record, he has a great work ethic, even getting his water intake down to a science. But where Chandler masters the liquids, Paddy's the king of solids, gaining and losing ridiculous amounts of weight between fights. Safe to say both men are coming into this fight ready. Chandler has 18 finishes, a mix of 11 knockouts and 7 submissions, but also 5 decisions. He's lost 9 times, only been submitted once, with the rest split between knockouts and losses to the judges. Pimblett hasn't lost in over 5 years, 1 submission and 2 bad decisions, but he's got 6 good ones, 5 knockouts and 11 submissions. It feels like submission is Pimblett's best option here, but something tells me if Oliveira couldn't do it, then Pimblett probably won't either. They're likely to trade a lot in the early rounds, so a knockout could be live too. If not, a decision is just as likely. Clearly, I can't make a choice on the method, so I'm playing it safe. Pimblett moneyline. And finally, the main event of the evening. We've got Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. Volkanovski is 26-4. He was sparked out by Topuria in 2024 and Islam in 2023, but sparked out Rodriguez in 2023. Lopes is 26-6. He won back-to-back unanimous decisions over Ortega and Ige, and sparked out Youssef in 2024. Volk is 36 and stands 5'6". Lopes is 30 and 5'11". 67% of Topology are backing Lopes, with 67% saying by decision, but he's the underdog at +125, leaving Volk as the -150 favourite. On socials, Volk, the man who don't tap, is up to his usual fight week antics, posting a skit where he's a producer, but don't think this is taking him away from the real work. He's locked in at the gym, ready to regain the title. Meanwhile, Lopes is having a great time in Miami, plugging his merch with a musical note of his own. Also locked in at the gym, spotted training with Bashi. Coming off back-to-back knockouts, it's hard to think Volk can win this. He's been knocked out 3 times in total, with his other loss being a decision. Other than that, he's got 3 submissions, 10 decisions, and 13 knockouts. I think that's his best chance against Lopez, who's got 2 knockout losses himself, losing 4 times to the judges, but he's never been subbed. With a total of 12 wins by submission, 10 knockouts and 4 decisions, he's got methods and is very likely to get the finish. I think the odds are backwards here. I don't think it's impossible for Volk to win, but I just can't see him finishing Lopez. I don't see this going the distance. If it does, I'd favour Lopes. I'm siding with Topology, but I think Lopes gets the finish. Lopes by submission or knockout. So that wraps up the joint decision for UFC 314. Quick recap. We had a few cancelled fights on this card. Burns versus Morales fizzled, Pantoja versus Cara France fell through, Sarukian versus Chandler got scrapped, Montes withdrew from fighting Romero, and Neal pulled out of the bout with Pratis. This week, John Anik is back as the lead mic man, with colour from Daniel Cormier and Joe Rogan. Tensions are high, especially around the Mitchell versus Silva fight. That one's had some heated arguments and a tense face-off at the press conference. Speaking of the press conference, main eventer Diego Lopez didn't just get into it with Volk. He had words with fellow card fighter Yair Rodriguez. Lopez joked about Yair's 2-fight skid, saying he doesn't deserve a title shot, which is ironic since Volk's also on a skid. The difference? Volk's a certified legend. Fight shorts. Paddy in orange, Bryce in camo, Volk repping new custom Greek and Macedonian gear. Alright, on to the bets. Here's where the money's at. Money lines, Raposo, Erosa, Pimblett. Decisions, Cornell, Jandiroba, Woodson, Rodriguez, Mitchell. Knockouts, Cornell, Tulio, Alexiejczuk, Reyes, Lopez. Submissions, Hooper, Jandiroba, Mitchell, Lopes. Bonus bets, Alexiejczuk by knockout under 2.5 rounds, Hooper by submission under 2.5 rounds. And if I'm wrong, the Brazilian parlay could bail me out. Tulio, Jandiroba, Pitbull, Silva, Lopes. Feeling risky? Try the Dejan Savage parlay. Cornell, Tulio, Raposo, Alexiejczuk, Erosa, Hooper, Jandiroba, Woodson, Reyes, Rodriguez, Mitchell, Pimblett, Lopes. Or go all in with the ultimate Dejan Savage parlay. Cornell by knockout or decision. Tulio by knockout. Raposo moneyline. Alexiejczuk by knockout. Erosa moneyline. Hooper by submission. Jandiroba by submission or decision. Woodson by decision. Reyes by knockout, Rodriguez by decision, Mitchell by submission or decision, Pimblett moneyline, Lopez by submission or knockout. That's it for UFC 314 by joint decision.